All right, welcome, audience. Long time no see. Welcome back to the Headless Hour. I'm back, and he's back. You know who I'm talking about. We just went to the bathroom before this, so we have clear bladders. We can talk for as long as possible. So it's gonna go well. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. It's been a while. I think we should start off by talking about any general updates from us. I know we both carry some very interesting lives, so I'm sure the audience would like to know about them.
Yeah. I mean, you want to go first?
Sure. You know, still in grad school. Still reading textbooks, same old, same old. Jumping rope, all that stuff. The only difference now is that I'm more knowledgeable somehow than my knowledge last time. I'm better by 1 year's worth. So the things that I'm going to say in this podcast should be taken as absolute truth. Um, but yeah, I'm going to clinics now, seeing patients and things. So it's been pretty nice.
It's pretty cool, man. You know what they say, progress is linear, right? If you
Yep,
ever have a setback, you should probably give up because you're not cut out for it.
exactly.
Yeah.
100% agree. One time I tried lifting weights at the gym, and there was one day where I wanted to increase the working weight of my chest press. And let's just say it didn't end well. So I've never went back to that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've started jumping rope with weighted ropes, and my chest looks better than ever. So yeah.
Exactly. They often say, if you want to bench, 225, maybe you should take calculus first,
Yep.
These things are often related, right? So if you want to, become a doctor, you should jump rope. If you want to, become a professor, you should probably invest in PayPal in the stock
Uh-huh.
market. This is
Hmm.
not financial
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, these are all correlations that have been proven basically to be true. It's just like drinking milk and having your bones become stronger as a child. It's simple arithmetic at that point.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's interesting studies on a choline supplementation and
Hmm.
childhood IQ increases.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I'm at the forefront of these kind of studies, these medicinal studies, and I will say that there is a lot of exciting stuff being done in terms of choline and administration to children.
this is very interesting. Do you know anything more, or is that what you got?
Unfortunately, as a graduate student, I'm not allowed to say more because of how exciting these studies are.
Of course.
I will just say that the future is looking bright. Let's just keep it at that.
Yeah, the future is looking bright, and it's looking very, very bright. One might even say it's so bright it looks white. But anyway, I digress. uh, so recently, this is kind of a tragedy, one might say. There was a mass shooting in Maine. Speaking of white states, there was a mass shooting in Maine, and this guy, I don't know his name. I don't know if we should say his name, but apparently he hasn't been found yet. So he could be
Wow.
listening to the podcast right now. So is there anything you want to say to him? Like for me, I just want to say, don't do that again, buddy. Cut that out right now. But if there's anything you want to add to him,
Yeah, I mean, like, first of all, I want to ask this guy why. Second of all, I want to invite him to one of the insane asylums that I've been going to in my institution, and I kind of just want to study him. I want to interview him, and I want to get down to the bottom of what he truly is, because surely he is not mentally there to be able to do all of this.
yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, how many people did he? It says 18 dead,
18,
13 injured.
20, yeah,
It's quite a lot.
horrific,
This is first time doing
unbelievable.
it too. I mean, it's
Wow.
first time killing people. That's
Yeah.
pretty good numbers to put up on your first day.
Yeah, I mean, he
He
really hit a
might
home run with
he
that.
might be going in the Wikipedia Hall of Fame for the mass shooting
Yep,
page.
yep, yep. He's going to be put in that list of like most horrific mass shootings. He's going to be on there, and I hope he's happy because Not a lot of people can get on that list.
Yeah, I don't think I have what it takes. I think I'd probably
Yeah, me neither.
max out at like 3. You know what I mean?
You see, I may be a grad student, but I don't think I'd even be able to get one on there. I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
I think you'd have to go more of the slow burn. Like like do some medical malpractice over the course of 20 years.
Yeah, the
Probably can't
long
put up.
con, so to
Yeah,
speak.
you can't put up these numbers in one day like this guy.
Yeah, this guy, he's built different. It's simple. He's just
Yeah.
built different.
He's doing this, like he's bursting onto the scene. He's not doing some, Ted Bundy like over the course of 20 years, add up 20 numbers. This guy's coming out here. He's saying, I'm dropping 18 right now, and then I'm dipping.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what he did. They didn't find him. They still can't find him.
I wonder what he's up to, dude. I wonder if he went to a drive-through for like McDonald's or something.
Yeah, he probably went to a Walmart to buy some clean sheets. Might be driving, listening to this very podcast right now.
He might be listening to this podcast right now.
Who really knows? But speaking of mass shooters, serial killers, what I've come to understand or come to seen, observed, is that a lot of them are graduate students. And for example, the shooting that happened at the Dark Knight theater, he was a graduate student. He was a PhD student, I think, in
Was he
neuroscience.
actually?
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah, very interesting. And then, of course, I mean, well, who was that one guy? The Ted Kaczynski. I mean, I don't know if he was a graduate student, but he was definitely
He was a
very well
professor. Yeah, he was a math
He was
professor.
he was. I wonder if there's a correlation there, and I wonder if that's something that we have to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I think there's just sort of this. I mean, it's probably probably some mental illness going on there, probably, but
Yeah,
you have to have discipline to pull through with that, because there's a lot of mentally ill people. They're not all shooting everyone, so you have to be like dedicated to the craft of like probably killing people.
yep.
It has to be a goal of yours. It has to be like a fundamental like crux of your existence. Like, you know what?
Yeah,
I gotta take some people out, because there's
sort of your destiny written in stone, sort of thing.
it has to be like your Nietzschean will, speaking to you, like just animalistic. Like a tiger has to like eat people to survive. This guy's got to kill 20 people to I don't know why, but I guess to survive, and then probably get shot by cops in a couple of weeks later.
Yeah. I wonder if they're ever gonna find him. I hope they do.
I mean, they know his name. It says it's Robert Card. Should I have
Robert
said that?
Card. Wow.
Never mind. That's a businessman. Never mind. Am I reading that? I may have just.
I think you just looked up a name on ChatGPT, and that's what it just came out.
Oh yeah, It says on CNN, Clinton News Network, Robert Card Ford is facing an arrest warrant for 8 counts of murder. Not. Oh, so there's 10 that they're not sure about. He's a certified fire. Wait, is this right guy? He's a certified firearms instructor and a member of the U.S. Army Reserves. Bro, the right wingers not gonna like this one.
They are not gonna like this. This is the plot thickens.
This is where they're gonna say psyop. I think.
I know a few MBA students who will say exactly that. Let's just say that.
Yeah. You know what's what's interesting to me? I'm reading this article. It says there have been at least 566 mass shootings this year. I think this is like the second one I've heard about.
What?
So
well, what constitutes a mass shooting?
I think it's just gang violence in Chicago. I think that's like 564 of them, and then the 2 of them are like that high school, and then this one.
Wow.
That's usually what happens. It's usually like 300 plus, and it's all like people in like Compton and Chicago and Baltimore, and then you have 2 of them that are like not gangs, and those are the ones that get the media attention. That's what I think. But I'm not an expert. Yeah.
I never even thought about that. Because, yeah, 500 is a lot.
You would hear about them if they were like high profile like this.
Yeah,
It's usually like drug related stuff, I think. I don't know though. I'm talking.
must be.
We're podcasting, dude. We're talking. We're kind of
Yeah, we're
experts
just,
on whatever
yeah,
comes out of our mouths.
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, he's shooting things. You know,
So I'm on Gun Violence Archive right now because I was interested in this, and
interesting.
I see this main one, 18 victims killed. It looks like one happened just yesterday too. So the main one happened on October 25th. October 26th, one happened in North Carolina, Clinton,
Interesting.
5
Clinton, North
victims killed.
Carolina. Let's
And
pull
if
it
you
up, dude.
scroll down, there's one that happened on October 10th in Wisconsin, and there were only 1 victim killed with 3 victims injured.
3 counts as mass shooting. I thought
I
that was
guess
like
so.
5 plus or something. I don't know. Let's see this North Carolina one. Do I know the guy?
Let's see.
Drug involvement. All right, so there's that. It's usually that. I feel like they don't cover it when it's like cliche. You know, like if it's like drug related, it's like, yeah, well,
Mm,
that guy was gonna kill anyone, someone anyway. But
that makes sense.
if it's like something like this where it's a psycho, they're like, this one's gonna get views. We gotta put it on the front page.
Wow, just wow. That's very telling.
Yeah. There's one in Chicago, but only 1 victim killed. That can't. That's not a mass shooting, dude. You count that as a mass
That's
shooting,
a murder, I would say so.
bro? They're
Rather
inflating the
than
stats, dude. One per. I could do that. I'm
that.
not gonna do it, but I could pull that off. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
These are not Hall of Fame numbers.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
Chicago on South Justine Street.
There's
Like,
one from August 12th, or sorry, August 13th, with 0 victims killed, but 4 victims injured.
all right, so I guess injuries count. Is that's how they're
Yeah.
counting it?
I mean, yeah, it's like a mass shooting. It doesn't imply like people dying though.
Ah, yeah, it's not a mass killing; it's a mass
Yeah,
shooting.
yeah, I think that makes
Interesting. So
sense.
if you go to the gun range and you just like you just shoot at like you just shoot. It's a lot of mass bullets. Does that count as mass shooting, or do you have to actually injure someone?
I think you have to injure people. But that makes
Interesting.
sense, that makes sense. If you go to a gun range. Ooh, what was the one? Was there one in Maryland, Baltimore, July 2nd? There was 27 victims injured.
Bro, 27. Let me see this. July what?
July 2nd.
July 2nd.
I feel like I've heard about this one.
This is the
Brooklyn,
high school.
Baltimore.
July 2nd.
Uh,
27 injured, only 2 killed. You know what I think? I think that guy overrated, right?
yeah,
You
he
injure 27 people and you only manage to finish off 2.
he
You know, if you did that in Apex Legends Fortnite, you get 27 knocks, 2 kills. You're not good at the game.
Yeah, that's very, yeah, you're not ranking at all.
That's what I
I
do
I
in
I
Apex.
played Fortnite with a buddy who boasts about like 6 assists while only getting 1 kill.
Oh yeah,
He's
that's
pathetic.
me.
He's pretty
That's what I
pathetic.
do. I can't finish kills, dude. I don't know how to.
Yeah, well, I'll just tell you this. My last Fortnite game, I got, I think, 20 kills, and I think that's 1/5 of the entire lobby. So
Wow.
let's you know, I'm just a gamer. I'm a gamer at heart.
It's pretty impressive. When I
Yeah.
first played Fortnite, like I think when you first play, your ELO is low, so they like put you in
Hmm.
rooms with like people who suck. I used to
Yep.
just hide for the entire game, and then like
Yep.
at the end, I would just hack the guy with like my whatever they give you, like the axe.
The pickaxe thing.
Yeah, yeah, and then I would always get first or second place. And then
Yep.
they started putting me against real people, and then like the second I like walk near someone, they start building a skyscraper and shooting them from like a
Yeah,
50th floor. It's very
that
frustrating.
game really changed when the building became a meta. And there are some people who say that building is sort of lame. But for me, I mean, I think it's just a different mechanic of the game. I don't think it's lame. I don't think it's stupid or whatever. I think it's just something that people are reluctant to learn because they see Fortnite, they see guns, they want to play like a third person shooter, but they often forget that the mechanic that made Fortnite so famous is its building mechanic.
Yeah, I think it's a way to differentiate between them and like PUBG, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
the downside of PUBG is if you're playing PUBG, there's a lot of people from the third world playing you.
Yeah. I kind of stopped playing that because of that reason. I couldn't understand what these people were talking about. They would start yelling at me, um, putting curses on me, which I didn't really like. So I personally think out of all the battle royale games, Apex Legends is the most robust. It's
I agree.
fast paced. The heroes are super interesting. I love playing as Octane. He's super fast paced, and the map is great. I just think Fortnite it's a close second.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Warzone's too big. I think that
Hmm.
disqualifies it. But like, I thought Warzone was decent for a little bit, and
Yeah,
then I just think it's easier to shoot in Warzone for some reason. I don't know if it's the what is it called, the controller tracking or something, but
yeah,
Fortnite, I
Magni.
can't aim at anyone.
Yeah, Fortnite is difficult. It might be because it's a third person thing.
Yeah, I have to be up close. I like to get in people's faces and fire my entire clip into their chest. I
Yeah,
can't do
yeah,
long range.
yeah, yeah.
Kind of a quick burst kind of guy, you know. My first two encounters I will die in, so I have to kill the first guy.
Yeah, I mean that's a warm up. That's a warm up. You always die in the first two encounters, and then you start actually playing a video game.
Yeah. Although I wish this is gonna sound very, very lame because I don't play GTA Online, but I kind of
Hmm.
wish they had like a battle royale feature. I know people will hate that because
Wow.
it's gonna be like a bunch of GTA bucks or whatever it's called. But
Yep.
I think that's the game where I can actually shoot because I've played the story mode for
Interesting.
so long.
Yeah. So you're like used to it. That'd be
Yeah,
interesting. I
I'm used
wonder
to
if
like
in
how the
GTA
camera
6
moves.
I wonder if like the reason why GTA 6 is taking so long is because they're actually building a battle royale
Dude, what if the whole game is a battle royale? That would be very
on
fun,
on the mobile phone.
bro.
A battle
All right,
royale on the mobile
think of
phone.
this. GTA 6 online mode, but you can role play as this main shooter or like random shooters, and like the Columbine skin is like the best skin in the game,
Oh my god.
bro.
No,
And
that
it,
would
it
that
costs
would
like
be very
5.99, but people will buy it. I'd buy that.
fun.
That might be the game, dude. And you have maps like high school.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying that if they, I know it's not popular, but this would sell. Like I would buy this. It would be
Mhm.
fun. It would be on Twitch, the front page of Twitch. People
I
would be
think that would be
making
on Twitch for sure.
people would be on YouTube like, how can they do this? And then because of the publicity, more people would play it. It would just be huge.
It would be, yeah, that'd be a very interesting business model. You just make games after like national tragedies.
That would be very fun. I think Rockstar could pull it off if anyone could pull it off.
Yeah, well, I hope they're listening to this podcast today.
Yeah, I'll be sure to send them a link.
What do we call this podcast again? It's called the Headless Hour or the Real Talk?
Full headless hour.
Yeah,
Real talk was in the old days.
yeah, I hope they're listening to Headless Hour right now because we are giving them gems. Let's just say that we are giving any company that we talk about, any person that we talk about, gems,
Bro, you know what
methods to succeed.
I just realized if if Rockstar's listening to this podcast right now, they should know that, the new GTA, they have radio stations. People like listening
Mm.
to podcasts more. How about this?
Mm.
Every week there's an
Wow.
update and there's a Headless Hour channel. And we just contribute to the Rockstar game. We contribute to GTA 6. Every week
Wow.
on the radio there's a new Headless Hour episode. Imagine that, dude. Like like a podcast in the game.
That's something that has never been done before. I'll tell you that. And I think that we ought to get in contact with Rockstar because
Yeah.
this is big. because people love podcasts. They love listening to voices, and you know what they love more? Listening to voices that actually have meaning, that actually can change their lives for the better. So imagine we put that in a Rockstar game. All those 13-year-old kids on Xbox listening to this will make a better generation. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I think if people are influenced by us, I think the world would just be much more intellectual, much more high IQ. It would be like Rome in a way, like
Exactly.
nowadays everyone's so highly specialized, right? You got a guy who works in the field, he does what he does. He talks about what he talks about, he knows what he knows. But us, we're kind of we are in various different fields. We're in the creative
Hmm.
field, we make podcasts. We're in STEM,
Hmm.
we are
Yep.
intellectuals.
Hmm.
We are correct about all the takes. We know about the
Yep.
news, like this Maine shooting. I'm sure.
We write.
I'm sure
Yeah.
this discussion about the Maine shooting has been more eye-opening for our
And
listeners than
nuanced.
watching
Yeah.
CNN.
Exactly, because the thing about CNN and any sort of news network is that they are very, very biased on what's being talked about in the news. But us, we're coming from it from an objective lens, a very objective lens. And for example, having our podcast played on GTA 6 is a very objective thing that will increase the revenue of Rockstar. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I think Rockstar should probably contact us, but you know how the system works. I'll have to
yeah,
contact them, and I'll
yep,
let them know about my proposal. I
yep,
think I think they'll listen to it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so that's a good 22 minutes on mass shootings, I guess.
Mhm.
We got a good chunk of the podcast done right there,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Pretty impressive,
Now,
if you ask me.
speaking of mass shootings, and I want to get down to the nitty gritty of this. So, imagine you shoot someone, right?
All right, I'm picturing
And
it.
yeah, and most of the body of someone that you shoot is, their body and not their brain, right? In GTA, Apex Legends, Fortnite, as we were talking about, the hardest spot to shoot at a person is actually the head. So usually a new player or a noob will shoot at the body, right? Now in
Mhm.
real life, where heads are very hard to hit because people are moving around. So they shoot at the skin, they shoot at different parts of the body, breaking the bones. And now I've had someone who has come up to me. Let's just say that he's struggling, telling me that the the profession of neurosurgery is much more profound and robust than the profession of plastic surgery, and I just had to disagree with him because I think that plastic surgery is much more cool. You get to work on the entire body, whereas as a neurosurgeon you are confined to the cranium, so to speak. Of course, you do get to use these cool robots and fix strokes and things, but you look at a plastic surgeon and you see someone, as we were talking about, who is a profession in sort of everything, ranging from the feet to the hands to the chest to the legs to the thighs, whereas the neurosurgeon is just a profession in the brain. What do you think about this, Cornelius?
It really makes me think about, neurosurgery in the modern day. It's held up as this, sort of, oh wow, this is so impressive. This is what it
Hmm.
really is. But it really makes me think all the greats, all the old ones, right? Like
Yep.
Rene Descartes,
Yep.
mathematician, right? The
Hmm.
Cartesian coordinates are named after him. Great
Hmm.
contributions to geometry. Um, also a philosopher. Also,
Wow.
I think there were some painters like Da Vinci who were interested in like
Leonardo da
the
Vinci, yeah.
body. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was
So
an
these
inventor. He was interested in the body. He was truly a Renaissance man.
exactly. So what I'm proposing here is those old guys, they knew what was up. Right now,
Hmm.
everything is so hyper focused on a field, and we think that's cool. I think it's quite, as you would say, not cool. I think, I think we need to go back to where people were just, shooting at the hip, doing things because they know how to do it. Because I think
Yep.
people have more to contribute than what their accolades or qualifications allow them to.
Hmm.
I think
Yep.
some dude who's who's a freaking I don't know, was a computer science PhD, he could probably contribute more to sociology than the average sociologist.
Well, I 100% agree with that. I think the world has become highly laser focused, specialized, and I think the Western world sort of celebrates that. I've heard that in some other countries, and I'm talking still about medicine, that family practice or internal medicine, where you have to kind of know everything, ranging from like kidney disease to liver disease to neurologic disease, psychiatric. They're actually paid more because they have to know more, whereas the specialists are not paid as much because all they know about as a neurosurgeon is the brain.
Yeah, that is quite true. I mean,
Yeah,
did you watch the Oppenheimer movie? Did you
I did.
happen to
Did.
watch that? Yeah, there's
I did.
actually there's a quote from Robert J. Oppenheimer, notorious communist, um,
Mhm.
where he said, uh, "This is from Oppenheimer: Prospects in the Arts and Sciences in Man's
Mhm.
Right to Knowledge." This is from his Wikipedia in the final years section. He said, and I quote, "The frontiers of science are separated now by long years of study, by specialized vocabularies, arts, techniques, and knowledge from the common heritage even of a most civilized society. And anyone working at the frontier of such science is in that sense a very long way from home, a long way too from the practical arts that were its matrix and origin, as indeed they were of what we today call art." Essentially saying what we were saying, right?
Exactly. I mean, he basically just knew that we would say this in this podcast. That is
Yeah.
exactly what we said, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of listeners might not understand exactly what he just said in that quote.
You know, I think a lot of listeners, they don't have the gift from God that we do, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Where we can talk about anything and we end up correct, right? Other people, if they talk about a topic they don't know about, they're probably going to be wrong, right? I mean, probably a good assumption. I think some people have a gift where whatever opinion they give, it ends up converging to correctness. I think that's really it's really
Yeah.
something we should be looking for in our population.
Exactly. And I just love that you brought up the Renaissance and Leonardo da Vinci. I think it's a lost art of having the correct opinion. Today, I think people just have opinions to have opinions, but they never think about them, and
You
they never think
People are
about what the
scared.
correct opinion
People
is.
are
Yeah,
scared
exactly.
to have opinions on topics they don't quote unquote know about. You know who
Yeah,
doesn't know about things? People who don't know about
children,
things. Do you want to be
children,
someone who, yeah, children, right?
babies.
Children don't know things, and yet children become people who know things.
Exactly.
This is quite profound what we're saying, right?
This is very profound. I don't think we could have come up with this conclusion by ourselves. I think using both of our brain powers, that children are people who don't know things, but they continue to grow up to become people who know things. That's
Yeah. You know,
that's mind
what this
blowing.
really is, if anyone knows about Plato's theory of forms,
Hmm.
right? So Plato talks about, this theory of where objects, ideas in the real world. So we have the material world, which we experience now, and then we have like the world above that, right? So like a chair. Think of a chair, right? You can build a chair for various. You can build a chair of various different things. You can have a chair look like a circle. You can have it look like a normal chair. You can have it look like a sofa, whatever. You can have a chair for fat people. You can have a chair for skinny people. You can have a chair for certain ethnic groups. But in everyone's head, there's a blueprint of a chair. There's a definition of a chair. While you may not be able to articulate that, this chair exists in this other world, right? Every chair in the real world is an approximation of that perfect chair. Ideas, similarly, ideas exist, right? They exist in this sort of consciousness. And people who have a gift from God, they're able to tap into these ideas, right? Like when we're talking right now, we're not thinking. Thoughts are coming to us
Yep.
from the heavens. These purely formed thoughts, these ideas, they are being gifted to us, and we are communicating them. Right? This is almost a spiritual affair. What we're doing right
Exactly.
now.
I mean, I like that you bring up Plato's theory of the form, because us two, and this takes years of practice. It's not about being a grad student. It's just about, being able to tap into that sort of metaphysical universe in which perfection exists. And when you think of a chair, or when you think of a circle, right? It's perfect. But when you try draw that circle, it often comes up imperfect,
Mm-hmm.
because we are limited by our physical bodies. And I know about our physical bodies because I am a medical student. So that's completely correct what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And sort of, when I prepare to talk to you in these podcasts, I know that we are going to tap into that universe. So what I usually do is I strap myself down to my chair with a rope, and I close my eyes. And I'm currently closing my eyes right now, but I will tell you, because my mind is reaching so far deep into that metaphysical realm, my entire body is shaking. I have
Oh,
tremors all over my feet and my hands right now as I'm speaking about you know the divine perfection that exists within my mind. My eyes are closed and I'm shaking, and I'm willing to bet that I'm foaming at my mouth right now, but I won't know until this podcast is done.
yep. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people listening haven't experienced that, and
Mhm.
they're just missing out. Like when you work on any problem, right? You don't think of a solution. The solution hits you.
Yep.
Yeah, like when a doctor is doing surgery, he's not thinking of how to properly do the surgery. The surgery is happening, and he is just a vessel for the surgery to
Exactly.
occur.
Exactly. I will tell you, I've been to the OR a few times now because, they're finally letting me in because, my brain is formed enough. And I will say, when I step into there, everyone just sort of loses their mind and lets the dance happen to them. It's
Yeah.
just like a ballerina. The ballerina is not thinking about it. She's letting her body do it for her.
Yep. I mean, there's the logical mind, which is the perverted mind, and then
Hmm.
there's the instinctual, the animalistic mind, right? When a tiger sees its prey, it's not thinking, "Well, should I go get it? Should I not?" That's more of a sinful
Hmm.
preoccupation. The
Exactly.
tiger is thinking, "I see this thing, I smell it, I'm going to kill it." Right? It's instinct.
Yep.
It knows. The idea came to it. It's
Hmm.
natural, right? And sort of this abstraction of that, trying to move away from that in science and in academia, trying to go from sort of this innate instinctual curiosity of like, this is cool, why does that happen, let me figure that out, let me explore all the possible like answers. Instead we're in this like very confined, very formulaic, like, this is how research works, this is how we're going to actually answer this question, which is very in my opinion, it's a perversion of natural law. It's quite sinful, and if you are doing that, I think in the next life you will be burning.
100% agree. I really do agree with that. And I wonder, you know, we both come from a background of knowing things and knowing that we know things. Do you think it is easy, or it is even perhaps possible at that point, to tease out science from the realm of the divine?
I think for the average person, unfortunately, they don't have the gift. They're
Hmm.
not in tune with their natural impulses, and I think a lot of this is just maybe conditioning is beating it out of them. Like you learn from a young age. You can't say that, you can't do this, you can't ask question, right? But really, a true entrepreneur, a true academic, a true voyager of the mind, if you will,
Hmm.
is one who says, you know what? I know there might not be anything on the other side of that ocean, but I'm going to sail anyway. And I think that really says a lot. Like when people talk on podcasts, a lot of mainstream podcasters, what they do is they hedge their bets. They're like, you know what? I'm not sure what I'm saying is true, bro. The fact that you're saying it, and if you have that gift from God, that means it's true. When I say things right now, it's all true. You might not agree with it. So-called scientific evidence may disagree with it, but that stuff's all variable. What's true is that I'm saying it, and what I'm saying is being said.
Exactly. And speaking of the truth, speaking of the absolute truth that we are able to tap into, I'd like to shift this conversation toward Hassan Minhaj. I know you had a few things to talk about, and I know what you're about to say is completely truthful. So listeners, listen in.
Yeah. So this is a comedian, Hassan Minhaj, not related to Nicki Minaj. Or maybe they are. I'm not sure. Actually, I think they might be second cousins. So Hassan Minhaj, essentially, he's a so-called stand-up comedian. He's more of an activist. He does stand-up where he talks about racism, talks about his personal experience with such things. Recently, there was a New Yorker article titled Hassan Minhaj's Emotional Truths. And in this article, I haven't read it, but in this article, I figure it exposes him as a liar. so, this article, it goes through all of his bits, detail by detail. I haven't read it, but it goes through every bit of his article, of his stand-up material, and it exposes him as just a fraud. Essentially, he's going on stage and he's presenting jokes as serious. He's presenting jokes as truth. I mean, I don't know who would do such a thing. All right. Anyone who presents, comedy, even on a podcast as fact is probably, it's just not right. It's not right to do that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And this guy was going on stage. He was talking about, he talked about how, he was in Chicago once, and a bunch of Nigerian men came with a rope and said, "This is MAGA country," and they tried to hang him. It turned out that was a lie. It's a shameful lie. I don't know why he has to say such a thing. I mean, and then recently he made a YouTube video saying my response to the New Yorker article, and it's 21 minutes long. And it was uploaded 23 hours ago. I haven't watched it, but it was. I just thought he looked bad throughout the entire video. He was saying things in the video that I thought were just disgraceful, really. I mean, you're going to sit there and say journalists lie about things for clicks? I mean, these guys work tirelessly to write articles, and you're going to say they just make stuff up for clicks? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that really doesn't make sense. And it's sort of amazing that you haven't read these articles, you haven't watched these videos, but you simply know. You just know what's going on with this guy, and I think the reader should tune into that. Try figure out how exactly we know that.
Yeah, I mean, like the first time I saw his stand-up, I was like, this guy's lying about all of this. And I saw this article, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to read it. I know what it's talking about. It's confirming everything I know. And then I saw his YouTube video, like the title and the thumbnail. I didn't click on it, but as they say, thumbnails are often 1,000 words of a video, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yep.
So just by looking at a thumbnail, I kind of know everything that's happening. And what I know about the video is he's responding to the article. And what I know about the article from the headline is that he's lying about things. So naturally, I can imagine that if he's lying about things and the article exposes him for lying about things, and he made a video response to the article, he's probably lying about the article now.
Wow. That is the amount of logic that you had to put into that, I'm sure, just broke the listeners' minds.
Yeah, I mean,
that was profound.
I personally think, as someone who does stand up, I'm currently what you would call North Carolina Michael Jordan. I'm at the collegiate level, right? I would say a YouTube special is like you're a European or Chinese basketball player, and then like Netflix would be like
Mhm.
you're officially a pro. I would say I'm at the collegiate level. I'm like Michael Jordan before he got in the NBA, right?
Yep.
And I think, a lot of these stand-ups, they're just not good at stand-up. They're good at what you would call public speaking. They're not. Their connection to comedy is not laughter. It's not a. It's not about just the essence of laughter, like making people laugh, like improving the art form, trying new ways to make people laugh. Instead, their material is more, is this topical, is this going to relate to people? And I think
Mhm.
that's it's a similar perversion, right? It's very formulaic.
Lazy.
Yeah. It's like how academia has been kind of ruined by theory.
Exactly. I
like
think
like
I
like
think that's a very good point.
people talk about vaccines, right?
Hmm.
And you got these guys like Anthony Fauci
Ah.
talk, talking about how these vaccines, because of these processes they follow, they have to be accurate. But I
Hmm.
say this: if a redneck says that they're bad,
And they're bad.
yeah, I mean, then why should we discard his opinion immediately? I'm
Hmm.
not saying he's correct, but I'm saying he's truthful.
Yeah,
He's speaking his truth.
he's speaking his truth, and that's what matters to him.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, this is all about power dynamics, as it
Hmm.
is in the modern culture, right? So Dr. Fauci has all the power, and
Hmm.
I think if you are a progressive, you have to realize that people who have power are wrong always. So I think rednecks are probably very truthful about everything they
Very
say.
truthful, yes. And if you'd like, to the listeners, if you'd like more backstory on Anthony Fauci and what we think about him, please refer to our first episode on this podcast. I think it will give you a better context on where this is coming from.
Yeah. We don't think he's a fraud, right? We think Anthony Fauci, he's doing the best he can within the
Yeah.
system, right? He has to answer to the system as it is. And I think the vaccine is definitely a vaccine. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's
think.
one of the vaccines, one of the most vaccines that
Yeah,
we've
I
ever
mean,
seen.
I haven't looked into it. I know Joe Rogan told me personally
Mhm.
that it's more of a gene therapy. But like, that's his opinion, right? He's probably
Yeah,
correct, and Fauci's also probably correct.
yeah. Why can't we all be correct about something?
Exactly. I mean, here's the deal. Me and Joe, I mean, we've been talking for a few years now. I mean,
Uh-huh.
he's more of a talker. A lot of times I'm just listening.
Yeah, yeah.
Like usually he's talking to someone else and I'm listening to him talk to them.
Ah, I see.
But like we know each other. I listen to him talk. I know how he is. And I think I'll be on the podcast in about, let's say, 8 or 9 years. So I'll talk more about this when I get on the Joe Rogan Experience in like 8 to 9 years, just so the audience knows.
Yep. And I personally can't wait because I know with the profound conclusions that we have come up with today that when you get into that Joe Rogan podcast and we talk about things like
School
babies not knowing
shootings.
things and yeah, exactly, and Fortnite and things like that. Joe Rogan's mind, so to speak, his third eye is going to open up,
Oh
and
yeah, it will.
hopefully the world's will too.
I think one day when I'm inevitably on Joe Rogan, I think I'm on a collision course to end up on Joe Rogan. That's been my life so far.
Hmm.
I think I'm going to get on and have a great conversation, and then we're going to have another episode where we have you on as
Hmm.
as the Headless Hour joint podcast on the
Yep.
Joe Rogan Experience, and we're just going to blow his mind. I think
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
It's inevitable. It
I
really
think
is.
I think that idea just came to me from the world of forms, right? That is going to happen,
Huh.
and it's just up to us to sort of push the momentum in that direction.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
are nothing but leaves in a sky full of wind. and we just let the wind take us to wherever we need to be.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes it
very
takes us to another tree, and other times it will take us to a bird. But we let the world dictate what we do.
exactly. The world is it's very Taoist in a way.
Mhm.
Things kind of flow. There's a natural flow of things, and to sort of go against that wave of sort of the world, I think it's very I would say perverted, as I've said earlier. I think sort of things
Sinful,
happen. Things
perverted.
happen, and you have to let things happen. And things respond to things as a result of things happening. And so responses and things happening are often two sides of the same coin. This is
Wow.
this is this is just quantum physics, really.
Wow. I honestly do not know what to say.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm strapped down to my chair right now. I wouldn't be
I mean,
surprised if when I wake up my nose is bleeding or I'm on the floor. Or I need to
dude,
go to the ER maybe.
to really break this down, think about it like this, right? We know from physics that everything is made of atoms, right?
Mhm.
And so like everything is made of the same thing, right?
Mhm.
So if everything is the same thing, then me speaking right now is the same thing as like Anthony Fauci speaking,
Wow.
right? Because we're all just atoms, right? So like this idea that he's right and I'm wrong, I don't understand.
It's very misleading.
It's very
Yeah.
anti-science because physics tells me everything's just the same thing. So like if you're telling me what I'm saying is wrong, it's like okay, so what's wrong, right? We're all just atoms anyway, right? So and also to think about this, the first person was named Adam. Bro, all right, wait, hold on a second. This just hit me. So you're telling me in the Abrahamic religious text, the
Wow.
first person is Adam, and the root of all things is called atom,
I
bro.
I I don't know what to say.
I
That is
think
yeah.
I think we just cracked the code, right?
Yep.
So basically, God is whoever created like atoms, or maybe he is the unity of atoms, in a very
Mhm.
Eastern sense. So then,
Mhm.
so now, Adam is representing subatomic structure. So we're all atom in a way. We're all representing atom, and sort of the fall of man in the
Mhm.
biblical sense. The fall of man is essentially this idea that I'm correct and this other person's wrong, right? So the
Yeah.
sin is really thinking that you're right about it. I mean, actually, I'm right about everything, but it's because I understand that I am everything. All right.
Wow.
Other
That
people,
yeah.
other people who don't understand this, they are the ones who are sinning because they haven't unlocked their true nature of
Mhm.
atom, atom.
Mhm.
Bruh.
That is it really makes sense. It really makes sense because, we're all atoms and one quote that I always hear is that we were made in the image of God. And that
Bruh.
image was Adam. That image
Bruh.
was made up of atoms.
Wow.
And when we start to deviate from that image, start disagreeing with one another, start deviating from the humanity in which Adam was created, that's when sort of the end of the world will come about.
Yeah, I mean, even if everything ends, right? Do atoms still exist? Is there an absence of atoms? Is that possible? I don't really. I mean, I'm not a physics expert, but the fact that I'm on a structural level, I am the
Mhm.
exact same person as Albert Einstein, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, in a way, Einstein is speaking through me.
Yep. And you were speaking through Einstein.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
like, regardless of whether or not my physical form, the illusion of consciousness that is what I refer to as Cornelius English.
Hmm.
He might not know about physics, but I, at my core, know
Hmm.
everything about physics. because I
You know
am.
everything about everything.
Rene Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." I
Wow.
posit.
Wow.
I posit this. I am,
Because
therefore I think.
I think we all need a moment of silence to think about what had just occurred today on this
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. I mean, in a way, silence is the same thing as not silence.
Hmm.
Noise is silence in a sort of way.
And sometimes people's silence speaks volumes.
Bro, that that actually just melted my brain right there. You know what? The phrase "people's silence speaks volumes." When you really break it down in a sort of artistic way, what
Mhm.
it's saying is that sometimes silence can be deafening. Bro. So you're telling me some philosopher came up with the idea that not talking is the same thing as talking, and was basically, if you generalize that, not doing is the same thing as doing, and not thinking is the same thing as thinking. Essentially,
Wow.
being wrong is the same thing as being right.
Right.
So basically, bro, it's all just atoms.
It's all just atoms.
Yeah.
It really is. There's nothing more to it. And
Wow.
disagreeing with anything that we've said on this podcast is sort of missing the point of what we're talking about.
You know, actually,
So,
going back to school shootings, or just mass shootings in general, what I'm thinking about right now is if everything is just atomic structures, right?
mhm.
Can you even kill someone?
I guess when you do undergo the act of killing someone, you are in a way killing yourself. And I
Wow,
think
dude.
that is very
And why would we disrespect someone who's suicidal? You guys judging these mass shooters, and you don't know that's what they're going through, bro. This guy killed himself
wow.
18 times in Maine. This guy committed suicide 18 times, dude.
Wow.
Successfully.
Just wow.
That's crazy, dude. That guy, we should help him.
Yeah, they often say that shooters need mental help, and we don't we don't want to give guns to people who are mentally ill.
Yeah. I mean, a gun is just made up of atoms anyway, so.
Mhm, mhm.
In a way, I'm a gun.
Yep.
Should I be illegal? This is what I
This
think the
is
Constitution was pointing at, right? If you make
yep.
guns illegal, you're basically making people illegal.
Yep.
All right. And do you
Yep.
want people to be illegal? So you're saying you support slavery then?
Exactly. And yeah, that's a very good point. I'm still at a loss for words.
You know, this is very high level stuff. I don't think. I think people are very materialist. You know,
Mhm,
and I mean
mhm.
this in the literal philosophical sense. Like, I'm a person, so I'm a person. This is a microphone, so it's a microphone. No,
Yeah.
I am this microphone.
Yeah, I think it goes back to sort of this topic of this idea of being headless. You
Bro,
know, when you when
exactly.
you when you point at a wall, what you see is the wall. When you point at your feet, what you see is the feet. But when you point at yourself, what do you see?
Exactly. You know what? Let's actually go through this exercise, right?
Yeah.
I want the listeners right now. Take a moment to point at the wall in front of you with your finger. Don't cheat. Take your finger out and point at the wall, right? So now notice what you're pointing at. And now point at the ground, right? Point at your feet. Notice what it's pointing at, right? Focus your attention on what it's pointing at. Now turn your finger around and point it at where you perceive sight from, where you're perceiving perception from. What do you see? Quite profound, isn't it?
Very profound.
You're just seeing yourself pointing into empty space because you are empty space. You're headless, bro. We all are.
You're headless.
We just have the illusion of having a head.
Exactly.
The
And then
mirrors are trying to trick us.
yeah, and at that point, at the same time as being headless, we are also everything that we see around us because we're all atoms.
Exactly. So this idea that you are inside your head, no, bro, you're inside your feet. You're inside your feet.
Mm-hmm.
You're inside your anus.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
inside, your chest. You're inside your nostrils.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every,
I would say that, with that exercise, whatever we're pointing at, we sort of become in a manner. So when you point at the wall, you think of wall. When you point at your feet, you think of feet. And when you point at yourself, you think of sort of nothing because you're just pointing at yourself. So
yeah,
in a
and
way, when we point at these objects, we slowly become part of these objects. And I think that just goes on to prove our initial hypothesis that we are all everything. We're all right. We are all wrong. We're just a leaf in the sky.
exactly. And in a way, the sky is the leaf, and the leaf is the sky.
Yep.
But I know our listeners are probably materialists. They probably don't
Mhm.
see eye to eye on this. So, to sort of make them understand, I think we have to think of it that way. We have to think of it this way, right? Let's say you go to the bathroom and you take a dump. You poop. Your poop comes out of you.
Mhm.
But that poop was once inside of you. It was once you. But it was once not you as well. So you're telling me something that wasn't you became you. You took things from the thing that was not you and it became part of you, like nutrition, and now those things that were discarded are now not you. In a way, it's very selfish, I think.
Wow.
When you look in the toilet, you should see yourself. You should see yourself staring back at you. That's what I would say.
Speaking of pooping in toilets, and I want to make this our last topic because I think we're getting over an hour. Um, what are some of the best ways to avoid using toilet paper?
Oh yeah, so as a grad student, I'm always looking for ways to save money.
Mhm.
Um, one of the things I found is toilet paper, in this Biden economy is quite expensive. All right. So, of course, you could be a criminal and shoplift toilet paper, but would not recommend that because, in a way, you're stealing from yourself. So, what I would
Mhm.
say is instead, what you should do is try to eat as much fiber as possible, right? So, what I found out is I started Googling, right? How do I, save money on toilet paper? Because the problem I've had, for a long time is when I go to the bathroom, I like to wipe, and I like to wipe quite a lot, right? I like to clean up back there. I know it's very American. Other people use water. I know
Mhm.
it's whatever. I wish we had bidets too, but
Yep.
I think for now we don't, and so you have to use toilet paper. So I like to clean up very rigorously. I clean for hours sometimes. I'm wiping
Wow.
for like 6-7 hours a day. So what I found out is, I'm spending $400 on toilet paper per every 2 days. What I need to do is I need to start eating bananas. I need to start eating the skin of bananas because that's where the fiber is. I need to
Yep.
start eating apples. I need to start drinking Metamucil. And what happened then is I went and took a dump. I wiped. No streaks, no stains on the toilet paper. It's as if I didn't use it at all.
Wow. Wow.
I don't think I've wiped in years now, even though it's only been 6 months since me trying this out.
That's very incredible, and the science backs that. And you know what else backs that? My opinion, which in some
Yeah.
cases is more powerful than what science, the perverted mind of a scientific mind, has,
In a
as
way,
we
your
have come to.
opinion is the science.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, I
So
think it was Dr. Fauci who said he was the science about vaccines. I think he said this during an
yeah,
interview.
I think so. I think I heard that too. So that's definitely
So now
very
you're telling
truthful.
me one of the greatest scientific minds told us that he was the science. So he was basically breaking down what we just broke down right here on this podcast.
Yeah, And rightfully so, because he is Dr. Fauci.
That's pretty incredible. That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. Well, I mean, I think we covered basically everything. I think the last topic, I just want to bring this up before you go. Uh, does mewing work? To get a good jawline?
I've been seeing a lot about mewing on the internet, and let's just say I've been doing it for the past 6 months, and I'm seeing differences. If you don't know what mewing is, I highly suggest you look it up on either Instagram or Urban Dictionary, and let's just say it will help you mog whoever you want. Your jawline will look so much better.
Interesting. So mewing is like when you chew on something and build up your jaw muscles.
Mewing is more when there's a sort of pandemic, so to speak, of well, let me bring it back even more further. Studies have shown, sort of dental studies, where if you go to a sort of indigenous sort of island, tribal people, their teeth and their jaws are always almost perfect. You know, the modern Western world relies so much on dentists, and you have to ask yourself why. Why is that?
Yeah,
Well,
I
could
mean,
it
I
be
can
in our
brush my teeth.
food?
You do need a degree to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And it could be in our food, it could be in the way we speak, it could be in the way we sleep. But the natural way, and this goes back to deviating from the natural way things were supposed to be done, the natural way for you to rest your tongue in your mouth is up against your soft palate and your hard palate.
I do this
So,
naturally.
yeah, exactly. And because we are natural, we think, therefore we are.
We are
And we
pure
are, therefore
animalistic
we think.
spirit.
Yes, exactly. And so doing this, keeping your tongue up and keeping your teeth closed, sometimes when people sleep, you wake up and your teeth, your jaws sort of open. It's very unhealthy. It begets laziness in your jaw. So the main thing with mewing is training it so that your jaw and your bone structure in that area forms and develops correctly. And it creates, you know, a more aesthetic thing to look at. Why be ugly? Because when you're ugly, you you're sort of making humanity ugly with what we've been talking about. So your
I
your
think
number one goal should be to be the best person you are. You can be.
the better you are, the better the world is, in a way.
Exactly. Yes.
And I think that goes back to the ancient Greeks. The ancient
Mhm,
Greeks practiced eugenics in a sense where they thought the physical form was a representation of the soul, right?
mhm.
And the unity of souls, you could call, sort of the world. And um, in my view, and in the ancient Greek view, an ugly person represents all of the bad things in the world, right? An
Mhm.
ugly person is a mass shooter.
Yeah,
I've
tell me
never
why
seen
all the ugly people are written as villains in our stories in our minds.
exactly, and why is every mass shooter unattractive?
Exactly.
So I think if you see an unattractive person, you should judge them
Stay away. Stay away.
because they're just doing something that's just disgusting.
Mhm. They are defiling humanity in
They,
that sort
they
of manner.
are through the act of being unattractive. They are spitting in the face of years of genetic perfection. Right? They're just tossing it all in the garbage. And I
Mhm.
think to a person like that, you have to treat them how you would treat, someone who's shot 18 people. Right? Which is why incels exist because they should exist. Right? Those are essentially mass shooters. The feminists are
The
right about that one.
reminders, yeah, 100%. The reminders of what we can become if we sort of become lazy and stop mewing, so to speak.
This has been quite the profound episode.
Yeah, I
I
would say
think,
the most profound.
yeah, I think it has been. I think we really encapsulated what it meant to be headless for an hour.
Mhm.
First,
And
so
our
first 22
podcast,
minutes, first 22
yeah,
minutes on mass shootings, and
and
then
then the
the,
restless.
and then the last 40 minutes on just being headless. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. You, I actually have an idea before we wrap this up.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, should we upload clips of this to TikTok, bro, for the youth?
Yeah, we could put it above some Subway Surfers or Skibbity toilet videos. I think that's a very good idea. Actually, we can get our name out there.
Bro, because I want to build this thing, dude. I'm trying to do stand up. I'm trying to do open
Yep.
mics every night. I'm
Yep.
gonna start posting videos on YouTube of me, probably saying stuff that I shouldn't say. And this podcast, I think I'm gonna start putting on TikTok. Try to get some young kids
Mhm.
watching us so we can influence them. I'm curious. What's the? Because I'm not on TikTok. What's the format that they usually use?
It's usually, you know, these bits, and I will tell you, with the kids nowadays, you should look into Skibbity Toilet. It's this
Skibbity
entire
toilet.
this entire fad that has taken over not just, you know, the minds of children, but the minds of specialists such as me. I will say that I'm very well versed in the lore of Skibbity Toilet,
Oh,
and
I
I
think
will
I've
say
seen
if you
this.
yeah, it's great. It's on YouTube, and I think it's like 60 episodes, but each episode is like 1 minute long. And I'll send you a link after this, but it is really great, and it's you know it's a Gmod thing, so it's not super cringe, but I think if you put you know tidbits of our podcast on top of a video of a skibbity toilet, that will get the attention of you know children.
Bro, I think we're gonna get some great, probably 13-year-old audience, and I
Yep.
think I think our maybe topically we might converge to like a, I would say a Midwestern, sort of
Mhm.
Rust Belt Caucasian audience,
Yep.
and probably throw some grad students in there as well.
Yep. Yep.
We kind of hit all the bases, really.
We really do. Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, I'm gonna try and get this on the TikToks. Actually, dude, I'm gonna put clips. I'm gonna put the best clips on TikTok. Make an account, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna. This is gonna get big. Is your schedule consistent? We should put out like weekly episodes or something.
I'd be down. I'd be down.
All right, dude, we're back. It's time.
It's time. We're back. I've missed this. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, I'll put it on Instagram and YouTube Shorts too. I'll put it on all the platforms.
Yep. Yep.
We might have to start a freaking YouTube clips channel. We might have to begin in the empire. It's starting right now, dude.
You see, our minds are thinking of this, and whatever we think will happen because
It's
we're
gonna
always
happen.
correct.
We talked
Yes.
about how we are literally on a collision. We're on a spiritual collision course with Joe Rogan, and I
Hmm.
think the more clips we put out, we're gonna end up on Joe Rogan. Maybe in
Yep.
like 5 years instead of 8 and 9.
Yeah. It could very well happen.
Yeah. All right, dude. This has been a good episode. I'm gonna start working on
Great.
the TikToks. You start working on this, taking people's bones apart or something. It's gonna be. This is gonna be a great goal to achieve to get on Joe Rogan. All right. Peace out, fools. I'll stop recording now.
All right. Nice.